Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So the other day I did a video comparing the Lexus GX460 next to my 2021 Toyota Land Cruiser Heritage Edition. So I figured today, to be fair, we got to do a side-by-side next to my 4Runner TRD Pro. So you guys know on the right-hand side over here we have my 2021 4Runner TRD Pro in Lunar Rock, and then on the left-hand side the 2022 in Lime Rush. So you guys know I kind of built them up similarly. We have a couple additional things on the Lime Rush over here, like the Westcott Designs roof rack, the rear ladder hatch. They both have the Westcott Designs lift. Let me make that clear from the beginning. So it's not stock height. So it's up 2 inches in the front, 1.25 inches in the rears for the 4Runner. The Lexus GX460, of course, is stock. It is the luxury. So the MSRP starting on that is $66,200, whereas the MSRP on both of the 4Runners here is between $52,000 and $54,000. So that right out of the gate, knowing the price tags is a piece of the equation, I think, when it comes to the sale numbers. So for the GX460, since I just looked back about 15 years, over the last 15 years they have sold roughly 25,000, right? So it varied a little bit year to year, of course, especially in 2008, 2009, that time frame it sunk down a little bit, but on average is about 25,000 per year. The 4Runners, I was kind of baffled to see this. I knew that they were high. I knew sale volumes were high. You see them everywhere on the road, right? Especially if you go to Hawaii, for the record. That's like the only vehicle there, it seems. But I digress. So about 125,000 on average, give or take 5,000, right? Over the last, since like 2005, like I said, I was looked back that far. But pretty crazy that even I wasn't expecting to be that high for the sale numbers of the 4Runner. I was expecting maybe like 50 or 60,000 really. So twice of what I was thinking. So pretty crazy, wildly popular vehicles. I would argue even the GX. I mean, I see that fairly often, and people love these things, and they love them for good reason. I mean, the same reason why you and I like them. They got the rugged body on frame design, that truck-like feel, which is becoming a thing of the past, right? So we are distancing ourselves from that. In my opinion, it makes the vehicle more robust. I'm sure it maybe rides a little bit more harsh, but in my own mind anyway, I like to think of it as just being a little bit more, a little bit more safe. So putting my family in this, I feel better knowing that, especially the Land Cruiser, it's a tank. I feel good knowing I'm putting my family in, like the GX is 5,200 pounds. I like knowing that if, heaven forbid, an accident were to occur, they have a good chance that, it's not going to crumple like a pop can, is what I'm getting at. So I personally like that, even if it means, suffering at the pump a little bit more. You get a combined average of 16 miles per gallon in the GX here. Granted, it does have a extra thirsty 4.6 liter V8, which is pretty antiquated at this point. Forgive me guys, the wind's kicking up a little bit. Then you have barely smaller displacements. You have the 4 liter V6s in the 4Runners here. And, and honestly, the fuel economy is not much better. I think I sported, 18 miles to the gallon is what last time I checked. So it's not much better, and you do not buy these for the fuel economy. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad for you guys, sorry. But yeah, that should be the last thing on your mind when you're buying these vehicles. You buy it for the peace of mind, you buy it for the safety. Like there's very few vehicles that you can drive for 250,000 miles with peace of mind. That is not the case for my Raptor over there. I'm nervous about that. I'm already nervous about that thing, especially the day it goes out of warranty, right? But I have never, ever been worried or concerned about my 4Runners, my Toyota starting. Same with my Toyota Tundra with the 5.7 liter V8. I always knew it was going to start. So it gives you great peace of mind, great reliability. They're bulletproof at this point. You get the 5-speed automatic transmission within the 4Runners, which I have grown to really, really appreciate. And I might be in the minority on this. I don't know. But I think having the lesser gears to go through, allows them to be longer gears as you're driving. So, and I like that. It's just, in my opinion, it makes it feel more linear, the power delivery, just longer acceleration runs, if you will, rather than constantly shifting every few seconds, it's seemingly, right? You do have the 6-speed in this, but I would argue the 6-speed in this is tremendously better than the Toyota Tacoma 6-speed that you have. The Toyota Tacoma, combined with its, little bit lackluster V6, is smaller displacement. I don't know, like I said, the Toyota Tacoma feels like it's constantly hunting for gears. And I've owned a few Toyota Tacomas. I love them, so don't get me wrong. But when I drive it, I always have a moment of like, gosh, what the heck is happening? So granted, I do think they have improved it in the latter years. So I think back in 2017 timeframe, it was a little bit more of an issue. But there are fixes to that. Let me make that clear. Gearing, you can tune them, I think, or gearing, I think is the primary fix for it. But at any rate, I think the 5-speed 4-liter V6 is the perfect combination. I think this is the sweet spot. So no matter what, with the next generation 4Runner, I think that it's going to be a little bit of a downside. It's going to have more power. It's going to be more capable. It's going to tow better than this. But I think this will forever be a sweet spot that people desire, in my personal opinion. And I would argue the same for this. The fact that it's a V8 gets it a ton of style points in today's day and age. It's the same reason why people are already missing the 5.7 liter V8 in the Tundra. People can tout the better numbers of the new Tundra all day long, but the fact that it doesn't have that nice 5.7 liter V8 growl is a detriment. And that's coming from someone who has a twin turbo V6 Raptor over there. There's value in that, in the Tundra over that even. So with this being that 4.6 liter V8, by the way, GX460, the 460 is an indicator of the displacement of that engine. I did not know that until recently, but I'm a dummy. So I think this V8 is going to be lusted after in years to come, no matter what happens to gas prices. If it spikes up, whatever, I think people will always long to have the simplicity of this larger displacement engine, naturally aspirated engine, no turbos to tinker with, to tune or get wonky on you, to replace, blah blah blah. The tried and true is gonna be lusted for years. So I digress. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of the interior. It's kind of crazy because even though they share the same exact wheelbase as the 4Runner here, there's more cargo space in the 4Runner, and this is longer. Even the actual body of this is longer, which is kind of strange. So we'll hop in here. So of course, even though they're simplistic looking seats, they do feel, you feel the extra premium in it. It says semi-aniline, I think is what it's called, leather. And these slide in and out, which is cool. I thought they flipped up before. And of course you got your a good amount of little cargo space there. I like the darkened wood trim. I think that's nice. But you can tell there's like a, I don't know, it's a combination of cheaper materials in here in addition to the premium touches and feels. So it's like a, I don't know, it really is a combination of both in here, but I do think they did a good job with it. And you guys know my standards are, I guess, pretty low because I've had Toyotas and I love Toyotas. So when I get into this, I'm like, holy cow, this is pretty funky fresh. Don't quote me on that. All right, so you got black headliner over here, a normal sunroof, just like you get in the 4Runner. We'll show you. You get captain's chairs though, back here, which is, I like the idea of it if it had a larger third row. If it had a larger third row, I'd love the idea of captain's chairs for like my daughter to walk through there, get herself buckled in the third row. I like that. But with it being so tight and crammed back there, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it. All weather floor mats, pretty simplistic doors, but a nice darkened wood finish here. And I didn't mention it, that infotainment was the long overdue upgrade from the 8-inch super dated display that it had previously. So that was new for this year. That was very much anticipated by a lot of folks. Got the rear swing out here. This is different. So here's your cargo space back here with the cargo tray cover. And of course those even fold down as well. And the third row is integrated within here. But you can see it's kind of high. This sits up pretty high, right? And I mean, if you have dogs, it's a higher jump for them. And that's because it is body on frame design. This rear glass does not roll down like it does on the 4Runner, but rather you get this bopper and then you pull it up over here. But it doesn't compare to the 4Runner or Tundra and Sequoia when it comes to the actual rear glass coming up and down. So that is more compatible for dogs, I think, because you can be cruising down the freeway with the glass down, and maybe you could do that with this, but I don't know, it'll look a little wonky, and yeah, it's probably not. You got the top spoiler there, so not something that you'd be cruising down the road with. So love that in the 4Runner by comparison. Let me pop over to the 4Runner. I'll show you inside, and then most importantly, we'll wrap up the video with my honest impressions of the driving differences between the two. Which one do I think is better? Which one's more firmer? Which one's firmer to drive? Which one's a little bit more droney? Blah blah blah. We'll talk through that. So here is the interior of the 4Runner. Again, you got tan headliner, which is, I don't know, that's not ideal at this point, especially even at this price point too. I mean, 54,000. I feel like we should be getting the black headliner. I mean, we get it in the Tacoma, right? The Tacoma TRD Pro gets it, so why not this? So TRD etched in the headrest there, but this soft text leather, I don't know, I've grown to appreciate it just because for what it is, right? I mean, it is a very chintzy feeling, I think, but easy to clean up. I tell you what, having kiddos constantly do stuff like that, okay, that's I can't blame that. I don't know if I can blame the kids for that, but you know, as you see, we have blankets down back there, or towels to cover underneath them because it's just a constant mess. So, but this is very easy to clean up is what I'm getting at, and that's not the case with like even my FJ Cruiser, right? The cloth material, even though that was, you know, easy to clean and designed to be easy to clean, even that I was nervous to get the kids in there and with crumbs and all that stuff. There's a door. Look back here, and this paint though, I tell you what, yeah, you can hate it all you want, but it really is, it turns heads, and I think for a good reason. It's really cool. So all right, here's the maybe less than ideal setup back here. It's better than the Land Cruiser for sure. We got the 3 across here with my son over there and 5-year-old in the middle, and baby right here with her kangaroo. So this is kind of tight, for being honest. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Better than the Tacoma. When it had those, the Tacoma was totally cramped. At least this has a little bit more headroom and entry point room when you get into it, by comparison. So it works. Here's that Westcott Designs rear hatch ladder, by the way. I love this. And let me show you that too while we're up here, huh? So sweet roof rack. Huge fan of Westcott Designs. Good people. All right, let's. By the way, by putting on that rack, you did have to upgrade the struts to be a little bit stronger, just because it is heavier, right? More mass on the back of the hatch here. It requires stronger struts. So something to know. I think I paid 40 bucks for these on Amazon. And then here is the Carnage. Look at that. How about that? Is it kitty litter? Goody. So always something new every time. I'm almost scared opening this half the time. But a little bit more space back here. Little cargo trays. The JBL audio system is great. I'd argue the Lexus is better when it comes to the audio premium sound. I guess you'd expect that, right? So there you have it. There's the back. So let's talk driving characteristics. One thing that I was really surprised about was how firm the Lexus rode by comparison to the 4Runner here. And perhaps it's because this is the TRD Pro and it has the TRD Tune Fox suspension. And that's kind of what I'm chalking it up to in my mind, and because that makes sense, right? So I don't know, I was a little surprised by how firm this was. You guys know this is independent front suspension and then the live rear axle in the rear, with the air suspension ride only in the rear, which is kind of strange, but so you can raise it up and down back there. So firmer ride in this, lot less road noise for sure when you're driving around in this, and you know, a little bit more of a sturdy feel within the cabin, and even the doors being a little bit heavier than the flimsy doors in the 4Runner by comparison. Because the 4Runners have that TRD tuned the TRD catback exhaust, it can get pretty droney on the freeway. So as you're cruising down the freeway, you hear it in the cabin, and it can be a little droney for some people. I personally like it, so it's never bothered me, but I can see how it could be an annoyance for some folks. It being the 5-speed, I have noticed when you're cruising up and down in the mountains and the lower displacement engine, it does tend to downshift a little bit more frequently by comparison to this. Granted, I've only driven this for a few days now, but this tends to hold the gears longer. Even though there's more, it tends to hold the gears longer when you're coming up and down hills. So I was impressed by that, and I think it's just an indication of the 4.6 liter V8 compared to the 4 liter V6. So you're going to feel a little bit more of the, especially when you have that exhaust, you notice it a lot more. And for the 4Runner owners out there, I'm sure you can attest to that. But overall, the Lexus, when you're in it, it does feel much more refined, right? And if you're the type to really appreciate simplicity, you're going to like both of them. Both of these are simplistic. You do get Apple CarPlay in this, which is always a nicety. You get in both, excuse me. But that was new in 2020 for the 4Runners. So there you have it, guys. I think no matter what, it's a win-win if you end up deciding with one of these. Both of them have exceptional resale value. The 4Runner has better resale value, especially if you can get a TRD Pro. There's very few vehicles that you can drive for a few years and only lose, a few $1,000 on, maybe 5,000. All right, so even before the crazy market, these would hold value exceptionally well. And the GX, they did well too, but not as good. If it meant getting a fully loaded, I guess not even fully loaded, my preference would be the Black Line Special Edition, so right around $60,000. If it meant getting one of those at MSRP or even a little bit below MSRP over getting a TRD Pro for $5,000 over, I would definitely go with the GX. The GX, getting it at MSRP is going to be a much better buy. You can have much more peace of mind knowing that you got a good deal on it. You're getting more vehicle for your money. So I would never pay a markup over getting one at MSRP, if that makes sense. That's just my personal opinion on it, and especially if it was the Black Line Special Edition. Those are sweet, in the Nori green in particular. So at any rate, guys, I blabbed on plenty in this video. Didn't plan to make it this long, but wanted to talk through that with you and see what your thoughts were. So which one would you pick and why? I appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.